Y'all ready to digest some beer? I am. And today, it is one of my favorite beers, the triple dry hopped Hoponius Union, and the most recent iteration uses Amarillo hops, which you can sort of see there. They wrote Amarillo, but I know it's still Amarillo hops, and it's the regular Hoponius Union beer. They brew it, but then instead of only dry hopping it a single time with the classic C hops, how they do it, they, I believe, only use Amarillo hops for the dry hopping regimen, and they do it 3 times. Throw it in there after the beer is basically done, take the Amarillo out, throw it in there a few days, take it out, throw it in again. And I've had some other versions of this triple dry hopped Hoponius Union. I've had the one where they just used Citra that was very, very good, and one where they used Calypso that was very good. And then I've had ones that in the past where they didn't, I don't remember exactly which hops they used, but I think they used blends like Galaxy and Mosaic, and that one I remember being really very, very good. And the Citra one is very good too. So this one I picked up at the brewery yesterday, but I believe they released it last week, so it's give or take a week old. So still extremely fresh, and then they filled the growler yesterday for me. I am a little worried because when I took the growler home and then was about to put it in the fridge, I went to, make sure the cap was on tight, and I screwed it on definitely righty-tighty towards the right way, and heard a tiny little tsk that made me think, uh-oh, something wrong with the cap, and it was releasing a little bit of the pressure. So hopefully it's not a flat beer. There's a teeny ring of bubbles on top that tells me that something has been happening that is not great. But hopefully, since it's a 64-ounce big jug, all that beer has been able to keep its carbonation well enough. And this is an IPL, India Pale Lager, one of the styles that Jack Sabby helped to popularize. And what I've noticed about their super hoppy lagers is that I don't notice the yeastiness, the lager yeast quality that all their other beers I can almost pick out immediately. It's a slight sulfur mineral-y quality in the finish, which isn't necessarily bad, but it's just clear to me once I understood what the flavor was and that it was coming from the lager yeast. And also, just because of the success of Jack Sabby and how they use the same lager yeast in all their beers, it tells me that a lot of people actually like that flavor. And they might not like it if I describe it as a sulfurous quality, but I think that lager finish is just making these beers just seem a little bit different, a little bit more drinkable and approachable by the regular public. So it's time. There's a pretty good there. And I'm seeing a lot of nice smoky CO2 or whatever in there. It's probably going to be fine. Very golden. I poured it a little bit hard. Got a very nice head. Yeah, it looks like there's a good amount of carbonation. Not super high, but enough to make me happy. Ooh, and that aroma smells a lot like some orange candy right off the bat there. I didn't get an explosion of peach or anything like that, like you might with a Citra or Mosaic hop. Amarillo's not one of my favorites, but I can definitely enjoy it. Ooh. Yeah, that's very intense candied citrus aroma there. Some green qualities, but it's not a big explosion of arugula salad. I don't get any lager yeast sulfury quality at all. It just smells like some bitter, juicy, really fresh, freshly squeezed orange juice. And and grapefruit just mixed together. Super fresh citrus fruit juice blend is the aroma I get out of it. It's very, very nice. And that's mainly it. There might be, you know, some unripe tropical things like some hard pineapple. Some spice, that bergamot spicy quality. Almost clove, but definitely not any clove coming from some yeastiness. Clove in a lager yeast just would not make any sense. Not going to happen. It's not an explosion of aroma, but it's also not ridiculously carbonated. It's very dry on the palate. Seems like it's going to be pretty bitter, but I don't think it's technically any more bitter than the regular Hoponius Union. Just all that orange marmalade. There's every single variety of oranges in there. Definitely lots of grapefruit. Some melon, I guess, like cantaloupe. Not really honeydew. It's all the orangish, reddish flavors. And very, very clean. Not vegetal. Not smoky and oniony, garlicky. This is a kind of a classic hop aroma. Like West Coast style, paler West Coast IPAs. It reminds me of some of the older but still really highly respected Vermont IPAs, Heady Topper and Sip of Sunshine. In a lot of ways, it reminds me just an amped up hopped version of the regular Hoponius Union. The bitterness is hitting me a little bit now. Get a good look at that. Some lacing. But, yeah, I think it lost just a bit of carbonation. The mouthfeel is just a little bit flatter, unfortunately. It's overall still a very good experience. Excuse me. Yeah, there's definitely a resinous, bitter, sticky quality to this, but it's not a like big marijuana, green, scallion, garlic. It's not hanging out over there. It's really clearly just intense citrus fruits. And just a hint of that Cheerio malt that I've been noticing in beers, where it's not quite toasty, not quite caramely, but not ridiculously pale. Like you can see, it's pretty orange golden hue on that beer. Unlike the Avery Raja that I had recently, that was totally just pale malt, kind of almost piss yellow. And I remember the regular Hoponius has just a hint of sweetness, a hint of like maybe honey nut Cheerios is a good way to describe that kind of sweetness. Well, this I'm not really noticing. It's just pushing these really juicy but still bitter hops to the front. I'm not really getting that tropical fruit salad that you might with some of the newer hop varieties or Southern Hemisphere hops. Nor am I getting the big peppery green side of things that I get from those same hops often. Amarillo is just all about the intense candied citrus in this beer, it seems. like maybe a hint of green pepper, but it stays back from any of that funky, sweaty onion that I might get sometimes. This is just capturing a classic, intense citrus quality of IPAs, but in a slightly different presentation. The India Pale Lager and the very low maltiness. This is 6.7% alcohol, I believe. So it's about normal for a strong IPA, but I'm not getting, there's not much body, in part because of a slightly under carbonation, but you can still see it's got a nice ring of foam there, but that's also from the ridiculous amount of hops they use in this. Well, it doesn't match anything like Trillium's double dry hop stuff, which I think they just have a magical process over there for the dry hopping that makes all of their beers just seem like they dry hopped it a bajillion times or something. Even though I know that it wouldn't really be worth it to quintuple dry hop something, because you'd start losing the stuff from the first dry hopping in the first place, and it would just make things complicated in many ways I can't even imagine. The cat's here. That is very pleasant. I'm very glad I picked it up. I just wish they would have done growlers of the Citra triple dry hopped Hoponius a couple months back, but probably they knew that would just sell out to beer geeks in one day, so they just made it only on tap. I did get the Calypso, and I think this one actually reminds me a little bit of the Calypso, but that had a kind of a muskier quality. Calypso's a really interesting hop. That one can bring out resinous, musky, and citrus and pepper, but this one is just so focused in on the bitter citrus fruits. But it doesn't, it makes it maybe slightly one-dimensional, but just so well done and like flawless in how it's presented. I'm not going to have any trouble drinking this, though. The bitterness is up there. But as long as you don't chug it or crush this beer, it's not going to be overwhelming. This is one where I know this growler will be finished by the end of the night. Alright, so anyone. Actually, they started sending the triple dry hop Hoponius Union around to bars, probably only in the Mass area, but I definitely highly recommend tasting it if you can, because it takes Hoponius Union to really special levels, like some of the other much harder to get IPAs of New England. So I'm gonna give this 8.75. Like, I really don't know if the carbonation got messed up at all, because we've got some nice lacing and stuff happening that I don't think I can dock it for that. And also that's human error and machine error. Happy Thanksgiving.